safety. He was trained by the all-conquering Vincent O'Brien. Cottage Rate, nearest to Canberra, had that priceless mix. He was a thorough stayer, blessed with a proper turn of foot. And he had a wonderful understanding with one of the great jockeys of all time, Aubrey Brabazon. And by common consent, the daddy of them all was the mighty Arkle, who won the first of his 3 Gold Cups exactly 40 years ago. He was up against the football-trained Millhouse, and on this side of the water, defeat for Millhouse was regarded as being inconceivable. But it happened. Willie Robinson on Millhouse and Pat Taff on Arkle had a tremendous scrap. But it was Millhouse, the big horse, as he was always known, who cracked. And in front of unbelieving English eyes and to a cacophony of Irish cheers, Arkle left him in his wake. The memory does not fade. Only last month, Arkle topped a massive poll of racing folk, naming him their favourite horse of all time.
This is the race now to the last fence. It's Arkle on the stand side for Ireland and Millhouse for England on the far side. And this is it with Arkle just taking the lead as they come to the last fence. It's going to be Arkle if he jumps it. Arkle coming to the last now. And Arkle a length nearer Millhouse. He's over and clear. Millhouse is trying to challenge him again, but it's Arkle on the stand side. Millhouse over on the far side, coming up towards the line. And Arkle is holding him. Arkle going away now from Millhouse. This is the champion. This is the best we've seen for a long time. Arkle is the winner of the Gold Cup.
Now in his bid to join the utterly exceptional Best Mate knocks at the Gold Cup door for the 3rd time. He first opened it in 2002. A year older, he was a year better and landed his 2nd in great style to set up this afternoon's date with the record books.
This beautiful horse, Best Mate's going to win back-to-back Cheltenham Gold Cup. He's strolling away with it.
And does he think he can do it again? Of course he does. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to what we've all been waiting for. Cheltenham Gold Cup Day is here at last. We have a veritable feast of action for you with the Triumph, the Stayers and the Fox Hunters, but the main course, it's the Gold Cup. Superstitious to the last, Henrietta Knight has been following the patterns of years past. This morning at the yard, she and Jackie Jenner were fussing around the object of their affections, a triumph of routine over nerves. And of course, not forgetting a mint for Edredon Blur.
Just want it all to go well for everybody, all his followers, for himself, everyone in the yard, you know, because it's a team effort. And you know, if he runs to form, obviously he should win it, but so much can go wrong in a race. So just want it over and done with and the right result.
Just after 9:30, under leaden skies, Best Mate arrived on course here at Cheltenham. All is well with the title holder as the months of his preparation tick down to minutes.
Going back to betting memories of 1973, there were odds-on chances then in the Champion Hurdle Beulah, in the Queen Mother Champion Chase Crisp, and in the Gold Cup Pendle, all trained by Fred Winter, and all the odds-on chances were beaten. Now, Rooster Boost was the short price beaten horse in the Champion Hurdle, odds-on Moscow Flyer yesterday, and the bookmakers are now asking for 6-4 on Best Mate. If that loses, it will bring back those terrible memories from 1973 as far as the punters are concerned. But Victor Chandler on the course, it was 7-4 on was the top price this morning. He's now asking for 6-4 on. It's 9-1 the Real Bandit, with 10-1 B4 Salmon, Irish Hussar and Keen Leader, and 100-7, 14-1 First Gold. There's no doubt the feeling on the course is that Best Mate is opposable. The rain has come down. Maybe it hasn't altered the ground as much as some people thought this morning, but other horses are being fancied against it. It's an each-way betting race. I've got 66-1 the Real Bandit each way. I'm hoping for the best, but why are the bookmakers really strong in getting Best Mate? Roll on at the moment.
They were absolutely right, and they always go and do their shopping in Irish point to points. The horse eventually went to Tom. Go and do their shopping in Irish point to points. The horse eventually went to Tom Costello, 1 or 2 run a race. Alice Plunkett has been to Ireland, taking a bit of point to pointing as well.
We're in Ireland, famous for Guinness, soda bread, leprechauns.
And
they're a bit keen this time. And the starters let them go. The tape's gone up, and the white flag men scamper away. The first flight comes up very quickly. Hassanpur towards the inside with Mondul as they rise over flight number 1 with Border Tail, the last to land. Tusk is racing very freely out wide with Seaford in the black and white hoop jacket. And now they've got a bit of a chance to sort themselves out on a long run towards flight number 2. And it's Hassanpur on the far side, the pale jacket of Mondul in the light blue cap. Nearest to us is Tusk. Then Cherub in 4th in the green with Seaford, and out nearest the camera in the headgear there is Analogy, Adopted Hero on the far side, Nose Banded Wild Passion, and then Raikkonen and Trouble at Bay in a dark blue jacket, maroon cap. Edmo UK is out wide as they run towards flight number 2. Tusk is just the first to rise there. There's a faller. Wild Passion is down. Tark has been brought down, and another one, Major Speculation, also brought down right under the crowd's noses there. And the horses are up as they run past the stands, and it's Tusk that leads from Mondul. In 3rd place is Seaford. Analogy is wide. Hassanpur on the inside then from Zimbabwe, now very handy. And these are tracked by Cherub. Behind these, Made in Japan, and then Web Perceptions from Trouble at Bay. Behind those then is on the outside Chief Yeoman of Raikkonen, Top Strategy, and then Moulin Rouge as they run towards the next flight of hurdles down the back straight. Well grouped together, Border Tail at the rear of the field. Al Ella very wide of the pack as they clear that one. And it's still Mondul and Tusk on the sharp end here with Seaford right there on the outside. Hassanpur now demoted to 4th or 5th. Out very wide is Analogy. Zimbabwe in an orange cap moves well. Right up the inside, Tony McCoy on Adopted Hero in the red and white jacket. Then Hal Hill, who's not far off them, with out wide of these Chief Yeoman and then Al Ella. Trouble at Bay is still right there in the ruck, but being pushed along at this stage by Robert Thornton. He can have a flat period in a race as they run towards the farthest point away from the stands in this JCB Triumph Hurdle. And it's Hassanpur now driving up the inside again of Zimbabwe with Tusk, and then Seaford on the outside. This is the 3rd last they're coming to. Cherub is back in about 5th place, followed by Adopted Hero, Trouble at Bay, and then Chief Yeoman on the outside. Made in Japan is chasing these leaders on the inner, and the striped jacket moving well, followed through by Top Strategy. Mondul comes under pressure as they now reach the top, and they're about to swing left-handed and begin the descent. Zimbabwe in front here from Tusk in 2nd. Adopted Hero travels well on the inside. Gary Moore runners 1st and 3rd at the moment. Then Cherub. Out wide of these is Chief Yeoman. Seaford on the wide outside, and then Top Strategy in behind them with Made in Japan. Then Trouble at Bay still battling on. Hal Hill as they now run down towards the 2nd last. Moulin Rouge for France out wide in the orange jacket is beginning to pick up, and then Al Ella down towards 2 out then, and it's Zimbabwe from Tusk. Chief Yeoman coming there. Cherub, Adopted Hero still there on the inside from Trouble at Bay and Made in Japan. Zimbabwe lands in front. Moulin Rouge was a bit untidy on landing. Hassanpur's pulled up, so too Edmo UK as they run round the final turn. Still more than a quarter mile left to travel here. Zimbabwe taken on and passed by Chief Yeoman. Al Hill now is unleashed out wide in the red cap as they make this long run to the final flight. Chief Yeoman, Hal Hill, Cherub is running on the far side. Then Made in Japan weaving about behind runners. Running on also on the far side is Top Strategy as they run down towards the last flight in the tribe. Chief Yeoman, Hal Hill, Made in Japan now comes with a run on the outside at the last. Made in Japan lands just ahead of Chief Yeoman. Top Strategy, Hal Hill and Cherub. These 5 cluster together up the hill. Made in Japan just has the lead from Chief Yeoman. Top Strategy runs on gamely. The leader's wandering about. Made in Japan by 3 parts of a length. A length now begins to forge away, and Made in Japan wins the Triumph Hurdle. Chief Yeoman is 2nd, just ahead of Top Strategy in 3rd, Cherub in 4th. Then Hal Hill, followed home by Adopted Hero and Moulin Rouge and Raikkonen and Tamarin Blur. Trouble at Bay in the midfield in the end, together with Tusk and Border Tail, and then Mondul. Zimbabwe weakened out of it. Hal Ella, and then behind those Seaford. Analogy was right out with washing in the end, along with Web Perceptions. Made in Japan is the winner of the first race on Gold Cup Day. Richard Johnson, who was successful in the Coral Cup yesterday on Munka Hostin. Another festival winner for trainer Philip Hobbs.
Richard Johnson, many made in Britain, many made in Ireland, but I don't think we've had many made in Japan.
No, he's a good little horse, and the race really suited him Bit of rain overnight's helped as well.
Yeah.
But I got a lovely run round, and in that race you need a lot of luck, and I think it was my lucky day today.
It's a hard race, this, isn't it?
It is, and you just need, I say, the luck of the race, and that was what I think that's helped me win the race today. Everything went in my favour.
Now, what are conditions like out there?
It's tiring over hurdles. My horse has stayed very well today, off of decent pace, and I think everything that wins today will need to stay.
How would you describe the ground?
I would say it's good to soft in places over hurdles.
Congratulations, great ride.
Thanks so much.
Made in Japan, a 25-1 chance with Sky Bet this morning, but generally 20, 18, 16 and only 14-1 in places is returned 20-1 against that Made in Japan, the 12th choice of the punters in the final betting market. Chief Yeoman was runner-up, a 40-1 chance. The third horse, waiting for the third, that's Top Strategy, Double Carpet, 33-1 against the third. And the fourth horse was Cherub, sent off at 16-1. The place is quite good for the bookmakers. In a keen betting heat, Trouble at Bay was the 5-1 favourite, with Tusk at 6-1 and Adopted Hero 7-1. All of those out of the frame. A great start for the layers. Huge betting heat, and they've got a 20-1 winner. It was Made in Japan. 6-4 on. They're asking for 11-8 on. Though 6-4 on in places. 9-2 Iris's Gift, 8 Crystal Danae, and in places, 9-2 Iris's Gift, 8 Crystal Danae, and 10-1 Shaboom.
In they come for a potentially intriguing bonusprint.com Stayers Hurdle, and they jump away. 3 miles to cover, and downhill towards the first flight. Solarina, the Irish mare, the first to bound on, with Tarxian on the inside of the big grey Iris's Gift, and then Yogi from Crystal Danae. Barracuda is 6th, jumping the first flight, and then Holy Orders and Shaboom, Graumano and Redemption at the back. Already quite spaced out as they go on towards the second. It's Solarina, Gary Hutchinson leading here, to Barry Geraghty and Iris's Gift jumping well in second place there. As they stream over, Tarxian in the noseband is third, the blue-jacketed Yogi in fourth. In the yellow is Crystal Danae in fifth place, then Barracuda clearing flight number 3. Followed back in the field by Shaboom, as they continue on the far side of the course. In the rear at the moment, Graumano, together with Holy Orders and Redemption. Uphill towards the next flight of hurdles, and Solarina by a couple of lengths to Tarxian and Iris's Gift. Yogi and Crystal Danae, then a break to Barracuda, usually ridden with plenty of confidence by Thierry Dumaine. Shaboom and Graumano and Holy Orders and Redemption as they reach the top of the hill, and the game Solarina will be the smallest in the field. She leads the way. Iris's Gift in second place, second last year. A tremendous battle with Barracuda. Tarxian on the inside is third. And Crystal Danae and Yogi, followed by Barracuda, still in sixth place. Down the hill towards the next flight, with well over a circuit left to cover. And it's Solarina on the right, Iris's Gift on the left, Tarxian just in behind them. Solarina jumping slightly away to the right there. Crystal Danae hard up against the inside of Yogi, then Barracuda. Graumano, Barracuda, the 11-8 on favourite to win a third Stayers title. Shaboom at the back, together with Holy Orders and Redemption, the big outsider in last place. On the long run to the flight in front of the stands, in a circuit's time the tap will really be turned on at this point. But Solarina continues to cut out the donkey work here from Iris's Gift on the outside, very prominent indeed. Really bold jump by the leader there. She really tried, gave the hurdle plenty of air. Solarina by 2.5 to 3 lengths to Iris's Gift. Tarxian is third, Yogi is fourth, then Crystal Danae. 3 or 4 lengths behind these to Barracuda, and then another 2 lengths to Shaboom, 1.5 lengths Graumano, Holy Orders, and finally Redemption. There's been very little change in the order for the whole first circuit. There is Barracuda. can make the ground up very quickly indeed in the second half of these stayers hurdles. Down the hill, Solerina to Iris's Gift. They've completed a circuit of the course. Tarksin is still third. Crystal Dane and Yogi. Barracuda boys in 6th place, probably about a dozen lengths off the leader.
Yeah, he's close enough, isn't he, Simon? But he's a funny old customer. He comes on and off the bridle, and he needs coaxing more than anything. And Thierry Dumain does that better than any. And Iris's Gift, he settled and jumped well today. He ran with a choke out up at Haydock on his first run of the season. I think Barry Geraghty happy where he is on him.
It's quite noticeable that on landing there, Barracuda just had to be shaken up. A faller Shaboom at that. Shaboom is a faller, rightly fancied by a few judges, but out of the race, and it's Solerina from Iris's Gift and Crystal Dane from Tarksin. Shaboom is trotting away from that fall. The rider Liam Cooper still down. Back with the leaders, it's Solerina from Iris's Gift, Crystal Dane, then Tarksin, Yogi, Barracuda. As they jump there, so Solerina stood off a mile from that flight. She barely got to the other side, narrowly avoided stumbling to the floor. And it's Solerina, she holds on to the lead from Iris's Gift, then Crystal Dane, Tarksin, then Yogi, and Barracuda in 6th place as they reach the top of the hill. Redemption is running on from the rear, and then behind these is Holy Orders and Graumarno tailing off. They've only got 2 flights to jump, but still about 5 furlongs left to race, and it's Solerina from Iris's Gift. Barracuda's getting into the race now, goes 4th. Crystal Dane in 3rd place, still moving well. Redemption wide, then Tarksin under pressure, and Holy Orders. They run down to the second last, and Iris's Gift joins Solerina at this point. Barracuda waiting in the wings with Crystal Dane, jumped it big. Behind these is Redemption, and then Tarksin as they run towards the final turn, and Iris's Gift. Barry Geraghty is the first to commit here. It's Iris's Gift, gallops into the lead. Barracuda now goes second with about 2.5 lengths to make up on the leader. Crystal Dane is driven along in third, and Solerina struggling to go with them. The long run to the final flight. Iris's Gift second last year. Barracuda looking for his 3rd championship in 2nd place in the leader's slipstream. They approach the final flight. Iris's Gift by a length and a half to Barracuda, who jumped in really well. Iris's Gift joined by Barracuda. Here comes Barracuda and Thierry Dumain, but he comes under pressure, and Iris's Gift is fighting back. They battled it out 12 months ago. Iris's Gift is in front of Barracuda. Barracuda can't get to him, and the grey horse wreaks his revenge. Iris's Gift wins the Stayers Hurdle. Barracuda second. This time, Crystal Dane in 3rd, then Solerina, Holy Orders, Yogi, Tarksin, Graumarno well beat, and Redemption. Iris's Gift has turned the tables on the French champion Barracuda at 9-2. Barry Geraghty in the saddle. It looked a carbon copy of the race 12 months ago when Barracuda joined him, loomed up at the final flight. Last year Barracuda was able to go by, but this year Iris's Gift has fended him off.
Barry Geraghty, you've achieved the almost at last, yes.
I fancied him. You had to fancy him. You know, look, see the size of him. He was here last as a 6-year-old. You know, great one.
That was amazing. Now, Barracuda came at you. I mean, what were your thoughts going to the last?
I thought he had me, I thought he had me. But as soon as he came to me, I went again. You know, that's the difference in a year.
Yeah.
And he was only beaten 3 parts of an end.
Yeah.
Why shouldn't he turn around and saying it for a month? I'm a month saying it. I'm a year saying it. It was brilliant.
You weren't going to get beat there, were you?
It was going to kill me if I did.
Many congratulations. Cheers. Great ride. Enjoy it.
Thank you.
So different from a year ago. Iris's Gift, a top price 7-2 with Blue Square and Coal this morning. Generally 100-33 and 11-4. Easy to back of the course. Return the 9-2 clear second favourite. Iris's Gift upsets Barracuda. Sent off the 11-8 on favour, and the applause ringing right round the ring. So very popular with the public. The second favourite, Iris's Gift. The 3rd horse was Crystal Dane, sent off at 8-1, and that Barracuda, the 10th holder to come back and attempt to retain his title. Only 2 now have ever done it before. Barracuda himself and Galmoy in 1988. statistically, this is proving desperate now for title holders of the big races. We've lost Rooster Booster, Moscow Flyer, and now Barracuda. All came back, all have been beaten, and Best Mate is now running in the Cheltenham Gold Cup. Bookmakers, because of the stats, will be keen to get Best Mate to land a unique hat-trick of all four being beaten. But Iris's gift here, on the shoulders, 9-2 for Geraghty and O'Neill.
Barry Geraghty, hugely popular with the crowd. They were chanting his name as he walked down there. Father Eddie, he was a great pal of John Joe's. He'll have been saying novenas by the dozen for the horses this week. He's just alongside the travelling headlock groom leading Barracuda.
Just like any good crew should be. Ready for action.
Actually, John Joe's petrified of this owner that's head. There's no one gives a thump in the back when they've won like Bob Lester.
And get some thump today.
Well, certainly deserved this after last year, but let's just have a look at Shaboom departing, John Joe's other runner. Just at the back, just stands off, steps at it, gets his head down and gives Liam a really nasty fall. Let's hope he's okay.
The mare was lucky here too, John. She could have done the same thing. She stands at the absolute wings.
What's the second horse, the third horse as well? They do exactly the same. Look where they've stood off. Just got over there. The pair of them really lucky.
The mare got her leg. She put her leg to the top bar.
Yeah, really paddled.
This horse, I thought just for a few strides he went. Barracuda got a good jump at him at the last, but Barry had kept a little bit left, and once he was not going to be denied from here up. He's a tough game horse. Barracuda lost absolutely nothing in the feet. They drew well clear of everything else. It was a good stayer's hurdle.
John, that horse, the grey horse, was very clean over the last one. He really picked his front legs up for his jockey.
Yeah, no, it's a great performance. I mean, they treated us to a smashing event last year, and exactly the same today. They've pulled a long way clear of the third. You can go back and watch them jump the last. Barracuda never broke stride. It was absolutely perfect. If you'd been backing him, then you'd have thought, well, that's good enough to seal this. But this grey horse, as Barry said, he was only a young horse last year. He's had another year. I thought that he had a hard race up at Haydock, and it speaks volumes for the team at Jackdaw's Castle and the horse himself, that he's come back. He looked tremendous beforehand, and it was well deserved.
Bob Lester and his family absolutely adore this. They wouldn't have sold him for all the money in the world, and they love to give him a cheer. And there they go. Bob is not actually in that there.
Well, Iris's gift really gave the whole atmosphere of today a massive lift in that classic race against Barracuda, and the tension round the paddock. I'm not over-egging the pudding here. There really was their attention. Even those sort of grizzled, seasoned racegoers, you can see them hotching from foot to foot. It really has caught people's nerve ends, this, and this is crunch time for Matey.
So the stand's packed then with adoring Best Mate fans, and it's almost unimaginable at the start of the week that Best Mate would start anywhere near the likes of 4 to 5, but that's what he is now on the exchanges. 4 to 5. You often find in betting there's no room for sentimentality. However, there's plenty of money for him. I often talk about £1 million horses on the race, but in fact Best Mate is a £2 million horse on this race. Let's hope he wins.
Just a mention for Barry Fenton, who broke his thigh at Huntingdon yesterday. Barry, I expect you're listening somewhere. Hope you're soon back in action. Barry, I expect you're listening somewhere. Hope you're soon back in action. And just remembering scorn from the weekend instead of getting scorched yesterday. But it's been one of the features of this festival over the last 3 days, seeing these old champions turn out. They all look absolutely magnificent.
That's cool ground coming up second.
There was Seymour. Was that Seymour Business in front, was it?
Yes.
That's right, yeah. looked wonderful, didn't they? It's pulled round. The one for Adrian Maguire.
Got up to beat the fella.
Yeah.
Clifford Baker, he's been hunting Seymour business, and he gave him a good ride out the other day.
Now, you wouldn't think that
one?
horse, right? That's one of the fastest and best chasers ever. He holds the slowest Gold Cup time since they changed the course. And you remember the day, just puts times into perspective. They were nearly unraceable conditions.
Well, no doubt about the eye catcher for us, standing right there in front of your screen. Best Mate had to have a word for Be for a Salmon though, because he looks a different horse to last year, and it's the same too. Took Simon's eye, and again down in the betting ring for Be for a Salmon, also key leader in the Real Bandit. And negative, well, not negatives, just drifting slightly, Best Mate, and also Irish Hussar.
Big bets here for Best Mate, who did touch 5 to 6 with Chandler's, who laid a 24,000 to 20 was bet on. Freddie Williams has laid a £30,000 bet to win 24,000. It's generally 5 to 4 on, but many bookmakers now asking for 11 to 8 on. But the opposition is still quite strong for Best Mate. Real Bandit really come in, the Real Bandit now 7 to 1 against the Real Bandit with 9 or 10 B4 Salmon.
Oh, I tell you what, I'm feeling, I've got butterflies in my stomach. The horses are just sorting themselves out down here. The jockeys just chatting between themselves, sussing out who's going to actually make it. I haven't managed to hear Best Mate just walking past us here now. He cantered to post looking fantastic. Jim had a real problem pulling him up down here at the start, but he's very relaxed down here at the post. And Ruby just saying he could be a little bit free, Alexander Banquet, so expect him possibly to make the gallop. And of course we'll see Best Mate settled in behind.
The unsadly enclosure is already packed with spectators hoping to welcome back Best Mate. This is a race to relish. Simon holds call.
And away they go then for the 2004 Tote Sport Cheltenham Gold Cup. And First Gold is the first to go on from Harbour Pilot in the red jacket and Irish Hussar on the outside. Keen Leader follows these as they cross the first fence. Best Mate landing in about 5th place on the outside of Sir Rembrandt. And then the Real Bandit followed next by Alexander Banquet, Truckers Tavern, and B4 Salmon rested at the rear of the field over the second. And it was First Gold that led to Harbour Pilot as they passed the packed enclosures here at a feverish Presbury Park with 2 circuits of the course in front of them. They're quite well strung out already, and it's Thierry Duman on First Gold that's making the running to Harbour Pilot in 2nd place. In 3rd is Irish Hussar. And then a gap of about 3 or 4 lengths to Keen Leader, another 2 or 3 to Best Mate on the inside, the Real Bandit and Sir Rembrandt, and then Truckers Tavern, Alexander Banquet and B4 Salmon. B4 Salmon approaching the fence at which he departed last year. He's safely over this time. Heading now towards the water jump. And in close-up, First Gold in the headgear. Harbour Pilot a half length down, clearing the water. Irish Hussar was over in the next position from Keen Leader. Best Mate going right along the inside from the Real Bandit as now they approach a jumping test. This is an open ditch. First Gold is the first to land there. Back in the field, Sir Rembrandt, Truckers Tavern, B4 Salmon, and Alexander Banquet is at the back. Heading towards the next now. They jump 22 in all. And First Gold is safely over that one. That was the 6th. They now approach a left-hand turn going slightly uphill, and it's First Gold by 3 or 4 lengths to Harbour Pilot. Irish Hussar and Mick Fitzgerald in 3rd place as they clear this next one. An open ditch. Best Mate very close there with Keen Leader just preceding him. Irish Hussar just drops back to 5th, and a shake of the reins from Mick Fitzgerald. The Real Bandit, and then a gap to Truckers Tavern and Sir Rembrandt and B4 Salmon and Alexander Banquet. Thierry Dumen really asked for a big jump from First Gold, and the French horse delivered in tremendous style as they reach the top of the hill, swinging left-handed. The next fence is a tricky one. It's the fence where the Real Bandit fell in an earlier race here this season. It's slightly on the descent, a drop on the landing side, and First Gold takes it in front from Harbour Pilot in 2nd place, Irish Hussar, then Keen Leader, followed by Best Mate in 5th place as they begin the run downhill towards another plain fence. The Real Bandit is behind these, and then Sir Rembrandt, Truckers Tavern, B4 Salmon, and Alexander Banquet, a pretty useful horse, is completely tailed off at this relatively early stage. First Gold may well be setting a very strong pace here as they run towards the turn. Rain softened ground as well. It's First Gold Approaching the turn in then as they return to their starting point at the end of the first circuit. Best Mate having gone off the 11-8 on favourite to win his third Cheltenham Gold Cup. Heading towards the next. And first goal by 4 lengths to Harbour Pilot, drawing towards it. Irish Hussar is over next. First goal is Jumping for Fun in the lead. Best Mate along the inside. Then Keen Leader. They're bunching up a little bit behind the front pair. The Real Bandit is patiently ridden by Tony McCoy as they jump the next. First goal again really stood off it there. An exhibition round from him so far. B4 Salmon is ridden very quietly towards the back by Timmy Murphy. He'll be looking to make ground on this final circuit. Trucker's Tavern just behind him. Sir Rembrandt just ahead of him, and Alexander Banquet continues at the rear. So they swing into the back straight once again then and head for the next fence, the first down the back. It's the 13th down the hill, and no real mistakes so far. First gold leads the way to Harbour Pilot, Best Mate on the inside, and then Irish Hussar with Keen Leader wider out as they take this plain fence. The Real Bandit, then Sir Rembrandt. Irish Hussar just has to be niggled along again. They're hitting another flat spot as B4 Salmon moves up, and Irish Hussar sharp reminders and losing ground as Trucker's Tavern moves up on his outside, clearing the water jump, and Alexander Banquet continuing about 25 lengths behind them. Back towards this open ditch again, and it's first goal that draws to it. Jumps it very cleanly once more from Harbour Pilot. Best Mate goes up into third. Irish Hussar has been pulled up before that ditch, very disappointing. Then on the outside, Sir Rembrandt improving with Keen Leader, and then B4 Salmon behind these, the Real Bandit, as now they run left-handed towards the next open ditch. They've got 6 fences left to jump from here, and it's first gold by 4 lengths to Harbour Pilot. Best Mate seems well poised on the inside. Harbour Pilot just jumping slightly across him there. So Rembrandt has improved in the red and yellow jacket, goes third now. Out wide is Keen Leader, then the Real Bandit and B4 Salmon. This is another plain fence. First gold. There a mistake by Sir Rembrandt on the outside in a disputing second place of Harbour Pilot. Best Mate in fourth under Jim Cullity. He's got about 6 lengths to make up on the French horse, who continues to lead as they return to this tricky fence. It's 4 out, and it's first goal that comes in to take it. This time he didn't take it quite so well. Harbour Pilot in second. Best Mate and Sir Rembrandt on their heels as they start down the hill with 3 fences left to jump. It's first goal. Best Mate on the right there. With every chance. Harbour Pilot, Sir Rembrandt out wider. Here's 3 out. First goal from Best Mate up the inner. Then Harbour Pilot, Sir Rembrandt there clear of B4 Salmon and the Real Bandit. They race towards the final turn. First goal, and Best Mate being held in there by Harbour Pilot. Didn't get a good run as they race for the turn. Sir Rembrandt takes off out wide. They got 2 fences left to jump. First goal is joined by Harbour Pilot. Best Mate has got to get out of trouble and now pulls wide at the front pair. Then Sir Rembrandt wider out. B4 Salmon is fifth. At the second last, Best Mate, great jump, and there he takes it up. And 38 years on, now Best Mate has his big chance to emulate Arkle. Heading down to the last is Best Mate from Harbour Pilot. Best Mate a half length to Harbour Pilot. Sir Rembrandt is back in third. Best Mate, he's a length ahead of Harbour Pilot. Starting up the hill, it's familiar territory. Best Mate from Harbour Pilot. Sir Rembrandt on the outside. Can he hang on? He's clinging on. Best Mate bounding away. Best Mate, 3 gold cups. Sir Rembrandt and Harbour Pilot. Then B4 Salmon, who stayed on well. Next is first gold. The Real Bandit, a very tired horse. Keen Leader is sprinting up the hill, but way too late. Then Alexander Banquet. Well, he's done it. He's done it. And Cheltenham is alive with the applause for this great horse, this brilliant horse, Best Mate, who has lived up to all the hopes, the anticipation, the giant burden of expectation on Jim Cullity here, and won his 3rd Gold Cup. Arkle did it 3 times in the mid-60s. It wasn't easy, was it? There was a nasty moment on the turn in. He was held in by Harbour Pilot. He got snatched up for just half a stride, but he jumped to the front at the last. The hallmark of this horse's career has been his clean jumping. He needed a good jump at the last. And then, when he needed some courage on the run-in, he wasn't found wanting. Best Mate wins his 3rd Cheltenham Gold Cup.
Here's 3 for Jim, 3 for best mate. Absolutely incredible. We've seen Henrietta and Terry describe the feeling from the back of the horse.
To be honest, we'd walked the track beforehand and we said the only place to be is down the inner, because down the middle is very cut up. For the last race here, it was last year, but there was no grass in it, so it was much better on the inner, so we had to take the gamble, and at times I wasn't getting the best of run, but what we'd lose by doing that, we gained in the fact we were on the best of the ground, you know.
There was no quarter given turning into home straight.
No, exactly, like, it's a goal. That's everybody's saying it's a steering job. It's a Gold Cup, there is no quarter given, you know.
How hard was that?
Well, he's battled on really well. I was struggling, like...
This is amazing, isn't it?
There you go.
Enjoy the moment. Well done.
Just enjoy these scenes, because you don't have to worry about past history. This is our bit of history. Best Mate has done it in the most fantastically dramatic circumstances. Just coming off that bend, short of space, but he dug and he dug this horse, and just look how the public love him. The wall of sound that crashed out from these packed stands. They come here to see him win a 3rd Gold Cup, and he hasn't let them down. A triumph of triumphs for Henrietta Knight and Terry Biddlecombe, and Jim Colotti, how he has grown with this horse, and what this horse and those connections have done for this sport. Fantastic. Relish every second.
Best Mate at top price, 7-4 on this morning, touched 6-5 on the course, returned the 11-8 on favourite, Best Mate, and he's the 25th favourite in 76 runnings to win the Gold Cup, the 9th at odds on to do it, most recently Arkle twice at odds on in the 60s, and Cottage Rake twice odds on after the war. He's the 39th title holder to come back in the time to do it, to defend his title. It's the 7th time only that has been done successfully, and he joins Arkle in the 60s, Cottage Rake in the 50s, who won 3 Gold Cups, and Golden Miller, of course, won 5 in the 1930s. For the runner-up, that was Sir Rembrandt, double carpet, 33-1. Screaming run, he ran down the outside, coming wide, fast and late, and lots of each-way bets for Sir Rembrandt. And the 3rd horse was Harbour Pilot, sent off at 20-1.
Well, you can go round and watch this take back as many times as you like. He's been given a brilliant ride, better even than last year. He never left the inside the whole way. He got into a bit of a barging match on the outside of Harbour Pilot, tried to get between him and First Gold, who jumped and galloped and taken them along for so much of the way. On the outside, Sir Rembrandt, what a race he's run for Robert Olner. And they must have been wishing Kingscliff had been here. But coming down to the last, needed a good jump. And there he gets one, and it was just a really wonderful moment.
Yeah, he doesn't do a lot when he gets to the front. Last year he skipped away, but today he hit the barges way there, get there, and he's jumped super and he's won. You never thought he was going to get beat from here on up. Harbour Pilot tried hard, he's run out of stamina in the last maybe 100 yards, and so Rembrandt has dropped 2nd place off of him. But full marks to Jim Colotti, loads of pressure. I mean, trying to make history here. He gave him a super ride. He was brave to try the inside of Paul Carberry. It didn't work out. Paul had to ride his race, and Beaver Salmon has run a cracker back and forth as well, having not run since Christmas.
Well, Jim Lewis and the gang awaiting. Well, that's them him cheering him in. They're awaiting his entrance. It'll be in 5 or 6 seconds now. We hope Jim's had a few singing lessons since last year, but prepare for some cheer.
Scenes beyond description down here in the Unsadly enclosure. Absolutely fantastic. Henrietta greeting. And here, Hen can't have a word. Everyone wants to hear what you've got to say. The relief. The relief.
It's the biggest relief I've ever heard. Listen to them. I thought we were beat.
Did you?
I thought we were beat coming to the last. He's tough though too.
He dug and dug, Hen.
And brilliantly ridden.
Yes, because he had to be cool, Jim, when he was denied that gap. But for all these people, and for all these people, this is what they want. Singing in the rain with Best Mate. Hen, thanks. Go and say hello to him.
Fucking awful song.
Well, this horse has an adoring posse of connections, none more so than the lady you just heard from. And John's just said to me how much she deserves this.
Oh, fantastic with the media. Well, since he won his first Gold Cup, she's just been amazing. Most trainers, say, right, you've got 5 minutes. Everybody that's phoned up, she's accommodated them. And Terry there also played a big part. But just a wonderful race. Paul Carberry gave Harbour Pilots a wonderful ride. So much to take out of it, but the man sitting on the scales there was just amazing. Never left the inside. He was seeing nothing for most of the way around there. The horse kept doing it for him. And
John, you could see
today.
today.
A job to get those 3 fingers down, I think.
You could see today all the schooling she does, all the jumping. He jumped superbly, didn't he?
Well, it stood him in great stead because, as I said, he had him tight to the inside. He was stuck behind Harbour Pilot, who made a bad mistake early on, and I know that through choice he wouldn't have wanted to have been tracking him. And then for a while, Paul Carberry just moved off of the inside, and then came back again round the bend and. He just had nowhere to go. He had no choice, Jim. Just had to sit there and hope that things were going to be okay. And well, they've worked out wonderfully well.
Jackie Jenner said this morning at 7 o'clock she just wished it was over. Well, it's over now, and he's still the champion.
Yeah, Best Mate and Best Lass. She's fantastic with him.
Shots that you'll see on calendars when they come out at the end of the year, and any number of bits and pieces of memorabilia. He's the horse the public have taken to their hearts, and the people closest to him.
Henrietta and Terry up 5 o'clock every morning feeding these horses. These are every little bit of success, and the girl standing there as well. Leslie just about to talk to Jackie.
Jackie, you were nearly green walking around before. It must have been so nervous. What's it like?
It was so nerve-wracking before, so much pressure on, and it was such a relief. He is so tough. He's so brave. I just love him.
What about that run up the hill?
Oh, that was never-ending. I was screaming. Oh, it was a dream result. I'm so pleased.
Straight off the line, he just pricked his ears as though he'd not done anything.
He's cheeky. He had to pose for the cameras.
And what's now for the rest of the day?
Oh, we've got Impact in the Cathcart, and then after that we'll celebrate.
Have a wonderful evening, and so well done.
We will. Thank you very much.
We bought you a sandwich.
No, this guy always gives me sausages when we win. And we
think he's run out of pigs,
no, we won the King George in the game, and so yeah, fine. Alistair, unbelievable. You and I know what it's like, eh? And you say your prayers, and I have to tell you about my coat. I came in the wrong bloody coat this morning, and I had to ring my name and say, go to the Bordeaux in the fourth bedroom, and it's got Jupiter on the inside. For God's sake, get it here. So fortunately, about half an hour before the race, I changed my overcoat. Henrietta would have been so upset.
And Henrietta, how she deserves this.
Henrietta is the most dedicated, wonderful person. And I know what she's thinking, Alistair. She's thinking about her mum. And like I'm thinking about my mum and dad. And you know, you look up there and you think, well, you've got to stay with me, help me, you know, and they do, you know. But I really was ready to lose, Alistair, you know, because at the end of the day, the dream must come to an end, yes. You know. And, well, maybe a little bit longer, eh?
Coming off the home turn, did you think he could win it?
Well, John Taylor, who reads the race for me, said, I said, what's going on? He said, no, he's cool. He's very cool, this Jim Collins. I said, geez, I hope he's not that cool, you know. But, yeah, he was tight, wasn't it, you know?
Very.
I mean, it was a bit tacky, you know, and it's not his greatest ground, is it? But you see, what we saw today, Alistair, is a horse, amazing jumper, great courage.
Take your sausages with you and go get a gold cup.
I will.
Cheers,
oh, yes,
Jim.
of course.
Go and get your cup.
Thank you, Alice. Thank you very much.
Your Royal Highness, ladies and gentlemen, today Best Mate was chasing gold for a remarkable third successive time, and how he achieved it. Our sincere congratulations go to the whole team at West Lockinge in helping to provide the most historic moment in jump racing for nearly 40 years. On behalf of the Steeplechase Company, may I thank the Tote and its chairman, Mr. Peter Jones, for their most valuable sponsorship of this year's Tote Sport Cheltenham Gold Cup. It is now with the greatest pleasure that I ask Your Royal Highness to present this famous trophy to the owner whose colours have now been carried to success at the festival for no less than 6 occasions. Ladies and gentlemen, please congratulate Jim and Valerie Lewis and their good friends from South Africa, Ingrid Oster. And my remarkable sister-in-law, Henrietta Knight, and Terry Middlecombe. And the jockey, Jim Cullity. Lass who looks after Best Mate, Jackie Jenner.
Well, the places this game can take you to. The dream has been made flesh. Best Mate has won his 3rd Gold Cup. He's not only brilliant, he battles, and he had to fight today. It got dead tight, but Jim Colotti, cool as anything on him in the end. And what everybody here has been dying to see has come to pass. Victory for Best Mate, and the atmosphere here is something none present will ever forget. Well, Henrietta's worst nightmare realised. Jim Lewis singing in the rain. We'll be back, hopefully not for an encore, after the break.
Time is now for moving on. Moving on. Moving on's the only thing.
£20 and a handicap. He'll be, if he gets into a good old rhythm, he's a bit of a leery old bugger, but if he gets into a good rhythm...
Is this yours?
No. He's a bit of a leery old bugger, but if he gets into a good rhythm...
Is this yours?
No. Spot the difference.
Spot the difference.
Yeah, he comes home well. He loved the trip.
He couldn't win last year.
Run over 3 1/4 miles in 78, 6 favourites and 24 runnings have won it. Lord Atterbury 7-2 with Leverets this morning, generally a 3-1 chance. Ted's Euros are really cracking in down here on this Never Compromise. Top price now 9-2, and many bookmakers going for Spot the Difference, as the female points out on the exchange. 8-1 Spot the Difference and 14-1 Earth Mover. Popular horse, that Earth Mover, won it in 98, 4th last year, and horses to win it twice, Double Silk and Fantas over 3 1/4 miles, and Great Old Hunters over 4 miles. You'll love these names: Winston Hill, College Master and the Callant. Great hunters of the past. Won the Fox Hunters over 4 miles twice. Earth Mover trying to be the 3rd to do it over 3 1/4 miles.
Love these hunters. Everyone's getting pretty nervous. Girls are down here as well, don't forget. The only girls we've seen riding over the fences today. They're just trying to again sort themselves out. The start has been quite tough on these amateurs because they really want a clean start. We've got a massive field here, and always they go a little bit too quick down to that first. So let's hope we don't have any casualties in that. They're going to be called in just a minute. I have to say, Ted's horse Never Compromise, absolutely the pick down here.
All right, sir.
And they're away, always on the line, just shies a little bit left-handed as the tapes flew back. Redbrook Lad is anchored towards the rear. Polar Champion, the pink jacket, is the first to kick on, going towards the first obstacle. Polar Champ on the inside of Bosun's Mate, and one down. Geordie's Express has gone at the first. Onto the second. Sheriff's Friend is third. Never Compromise on the inside. Out wide is Spot the Difference as they rise at this one from Irby and County Derry. And then behind those is 1 minute to 5 on the outside of Torduff Express, and always on the line of Bright Approach. Lord Atterbury at the rear of the main leading bunch. Towards the rear at the moment, Game Gunner, with also Castle Weir and Charlie Strong and Omni Cosmo Touch. And Redbrook Lad is held up to get the trip well off the pace. And looking back, Geordie's Express's rider, Dale Jewett, is being attended to by the medics. On towards the first down the back, and it's Bosun's Mate and Never Compromise and Polar Champ and Sheriff's Friend at Irby as they clear that one all safely over. Not far off the leading 4 or 5 is County Derry on the inside. Lord Atterbury in the blue and green jacket just away to the right of frame as they take the water jump, with County Derry in the cheek pieces on his inside, just behind him now as they approach the next. An open ditch, Polar Champ from Bosun's Mate and Irby in the red and yellow, and then Never Compromise, followed on the outside by Sheriff's Friend in the blue with the yellow sleeves. 1 minute to 5 in the green jacket. One of the Grey's Bright Approaches not far off these, and then Mullins Grove on the outside as they landed over that one and turning left-handed towards the next. An open ditch, and it's Polar Champ with a clear advantage at this point from Irby on the outside of Bosun's Mate. then Never Compromise and Sheriff's Friend at 1 minute to 5, and then behind those is Lord Atterbury. And Omni Cosmo Touch has departed somewhere along the line. Approaching the next, Polar Champ stoked into it, jumps it well from Bosun's Mate and Irby, and then 1 minute to 5, Mullins Grove pecking on landing. Woodlands Bow is well back in the field as they make the top turn. Polar Champ by 5 lengths to Irby in second place. Bosun's Mate is third, Sheriff's Friend, and then 1 minute to 5. And then not far behind these is Never Compromise towards the inside, followed through by County Derry. Toured Up Express, a faller there, always on the line. Game Gunner is forced wide. Q-Tal is struggling in the rear. Racing downhill. Horse and rider on their feet. Down towards the next. Polar Champ will lead them into it by about 4 lengths here. Polar Champ over safely from Irby and Bosun's Mate. 1 minute to 5 on the left. Toured Up Express on the left as well in the yellow jacket. Lord Atterbury's off the fence now. The green sleeves out wide. And then Sheriff's Friend back on the inner, followed by Never Compromise, and then Upham Lord. Then Arctic Times on the inside, followed next by the Grey Bright Approach and County Derry as they straighten up past their departure point. Spot the differences deep in the midfield at the moment with Mullins Grove, then Earth Mover, who's making a little bit of headway now. Earth Mover been some way off the pace though as they land over the next plain fence. Charlie Strong is wide of Redbrook Lad making stealthy headway. Game Gunner, Woodlands Bow and Q-Tal. In front of the stands, Polar Champ on a good stride, jumps it well from Bosun's Mate. And then Irby over in third place wide. Lord Atterbury, the favourite, goes fourth now from 1 minute to 5. And then Sheriff's Friend, Toured Up Express just stumbles. The loose horse on the inside, distracting Sheriff's Friend on his inside. Then Never Compromise from Arctic Times and Upham Lord and County Derry Bright Approach Earth Mover. Spot the difference is driven along from Redbrook Lad and Castle Weir and Charlie Strong. Mullins Grove losing ground, so too Game Gunner, and Woodlands Bow and Q-Tal is pulling up. They're well strung out as they head out on their final circuit down the hill to the next plain fence. Polar Champ didn't get too high this time as they land over that one. Slight mistake by Castle Weir back in the field. Irby is second still as they head along to the water jump. Bosun's Mate 1 minute to 5. Lord Atterbury just pushed along a little bit out wide as they take the water jump there. And now they've got an open ditch. Earth Mover on the outside, the yellow with the brown striped sleeves, the old boy getting into the race as they go to the open ditch. And it's Polar Champ from Irby, Bosun's Mate 1 minute to 5. Toured Up Express, Lord Atterbury. Castle Weir has pulled up. Earth Mover on the outside. Never Compromise and Sheriff's Friend and Arctic Times as they jump the next plain fence. Getting strung out. Lord Atterbury seems to be struggling here, backpedaling as they go left-handed towards the next open ditch, the final open ditch. And Polar Champ driven along in front from Irby. 1 minute to 5 on the right. Toured Up Express, Bosun's Mate, Earth Mover out wide. Bosun's Mate is down there. And the rider got a bit of a kick from Redbrook Lad following through. Arctic Times is just latching onto the back of the leading pack. Never Compromise on the outside as they go to the next plain fence. And Earth Mover on the outside of Irby and Polar Champ there. Down is Arctic Times right in front of our camera. 1 minute to 5 is in fourth place. Never Compromise. Toured Up Express is driven along, but it's the 13-year-old Earth Mover, the winner of this race in 1998, that leads them going towards the fourth last. It's Earth Mover that will pick up first here. Earth Mover from Irby, 1 minute to 5 on the inside. Never Compromise goes well for Ted Walsh, and then in behind them is Toured Up Express, a gap to Polar Champ and Redbrook Lad and Spot the Difference and County Derry down towards the third last. And Earth Mover 1 minute to 5 on the near side. Irby out wide. Never Compromise ready to pounce seemingly in third place now as they head towards the final turn. And it's really Goshen on Earth Mover from 1 minute to 5, and Gordon Elliott, Never Compromise and Alan Crow hard on their heels. The winner looks set to come from this trio as they make the final turn, and Earth Mover leads them in from 1 minute to 5. Never Compromise now pulled wide for a challenge as they head down towards the second last. It's Earth Mover still. Never Compromise now appears to be the only danger. Earth Mover and Never Compromise, there wasn't much between them. 1 minute to 5 is back in third. A long gap to County Derry, and can old Earth Mover hold on from Never Compromise? Here's the final fence here. Earth Mover, he slows going into it. Never Compromise jumps it slightly better. Now the hill to climb. Earth Mover on the far side of Never Compromise, and the old boy's really pulling it out here. And it's Earth Mover by 2 legs, the 1998 winner. He's going to win it
this memorable day at Cheltenham, Earth Mover topped it. Earth Mover from Never Compromise, and then in third is County Derry, 1 minute to 5, back in fourth place. Then Spot the Difference and Irby, Bright Approach and Torduff Express. Polar Champ was next, and then Mullins Grove. They finished out on their feet here, and Earth Mover, the 13-year-old, really, gosh, and absolutely thrilled. Earth Mover's been a horse that's career has been marked by jumping problems, but he's a horse with tremendous stamina and courage, and boy, he showed it on the run in here.
Really Goshen, rightly ecstatic. Didn't he put his head down and battle that Earth Mover? He's the winner at 14-1. Ted Walsh's Never Compromise second at 9-2, and County Derry under a Never Give Up ride was third. We're going to take a quick break. See you in just a minute.
Next time you're out shopping, look for JML's
Roars from front rooms and round tellies. Well, you'll remember that, and we'll remember the Cheltenham Roar here. A fantastic... You'll remember that, and we'll remember the Cheltenham Roar here. A fantastic meeting. Goodbye.
Inside, Our Armageddon is handy as well. Don Fernando follows these as they race towards the first fence. Our Armageddon probably just the first to pick up. Penthouse Minstrel and Impec are the back pair as they go on towards the second. Iris Royal on the right, Our Armageddon in the centre, jumps first. Hazeljack wider out. Then La Londière, the winner of this race 12 months ago, in 4th place. Don Fernando, Penthouse Minstrel, and finally Impec in the best mate colours of Jim Lewis. Jim Cullity again in the saddle. Over the next, and Our Armageddon, who ran a couple of days ago here, leads them to the bottom turn from Iris Royal in 2nd place. Mick Fitzgerald. Hazeljack is 3rd. La Londière, with Richard Johnson competing strongly for the leading rider of the week championship. Don Fernando is wide of Impec, and finally Penthouse Minstrel. Heading on to the next couple of plain fences. Our Armageddon looks to be a brisk enough pace. Our Armageddon, Iris Royal, Hazeljack, La Londière and Don Fernando out wide. Right up the inside is Impec, and then Penthouse Minstrel. And all jump particularly soundly there as they head on towards the 2 beyond the home turn. These will be the last 2 fences after another circuit, and it's Our Armageddon with Iris Royal 2 lengths down in 2nd. Hazeljack is 3rd on the outside, and then La Londière, Don Fernando and Impec, and Penthouse Minstrel struggling to keep up in last place. Right in front of the stands then, and Our Armageddon puts in a spectacular jump there from Hazeljack in 2nd, and La Londière and Iris Royal matching strides, disputing 3rd position, and Impec and then Don Fernando, and 7 or 8 lengths to the struggling Penthouse Minstrel as they race towards the back straight. And down the back, well, 4 fences on the next part of the course before another left-hand turn going up the hill. It's Our Armageddon. It's made it all so far. Iris Royal on the inside of Hazeljack, then La Londière, Don Fernando and Impec, and Penthouse Minstrel still continuing. The next is the water jump, and at the water, Our Armageddon over by 2.5 lengths to Iris Royal. Hazeljack, La Londière, Don Fernando, Impec given a quiet ride right round the inside, the best mate route as they take this open ditch. Good jump again by the leader, Our Armageddon. Good jump too by Impec there on the inside as they head towards the next plain fence. And still this leader, Our Armageddon, jumping solidly by 3 lengths to Impec, who's improved up the inner of Iris Royal, who comes under pressure. Then Hazeljack, Don Fernando on the outside as they head towards this open ditch, racing up the hill. Penthouse Minstrel is well out of it. La Londière just struggling a little bit on the head, on the tail of the front 5, coming under some pressure. Iris Royal hasn't picked up at the moment as they go towards this next plain one. Our Armageddon still sailing along. Jumps it neatly enough. Impec goes 2nd, and then in 3rd is Don Fernando. Most of the others under pressure. Iris Royal as they make the top turn and head towards the 4th last. The fence of the slight drop on the landing side, and it's Our Armageddon given a positive ride here. They've got a good gallop again. Impec on the inside. Our Armageddon brushes through the top, a little nod on landing. La Londière pecks badly, slithers on landing and loses all momentum as they run down the hill, and it's Our Armageddon. Impec still seems to be travelling all right. Don Fernando and Iris Royal have both been under pressure for a while, though Iris Royal is rallying a bit at the 3rd last. Our Armageddon with Impec closing up there. Impec now poised to challenge Iris Royal, Don Fernando, a 3rd and 4th. They're well clear of Hazeljack. They run round the final turn. Still Our Armageddon. Impec looking for a run maybe up the inside. Iris Royal is still battling on gamely under pressure as they straighten up for the final 2 fences. Our Armageddon with Impec in the best mate colours up the inside challenging. Iris Royal in 3rd. At the 2nd last, Our Armageddon jumps left-handed at it, lands 2 lengths clear of Impec. Iris Royal is really sticking to his task most tenaciously on the outside under Mick Fitzgerald. He's picking up again, going towards the last. Our Armageddon dives left. Iris Royal lands 2nd. Impec can't go on. Racing up the hill, it's Our Armageddon wavering off a true line under a right-hand drive. Iris Royal in 2nd. Our Armageddon keeping up the gallop. He's 4 lengths clear of Iris Royal and close to the finish. Our Armageddon makes just about all to win the Cathcart. In 2nd is Iris Royal. 3rd is Impec.
A long break to Hazeljack in fourth.
A success for the North, Armageddon, and a delighted Larry McGrath. I'm really pleased for him. I know how much he was looking forward to his rides, and it was so disappointing that the Arkle ended in disappointment. Fantastic scenes. Armageddon has won at 9-1 for Richard Guest and Larry McGrath. Let's check out the starting prices and the thoughts of Sean in the ring.
Well, number 5, Our Armageddon has returned 9-1, was 11-1, 12-1 in a place. Just heard that there was a £1,000 bet at 10-1 and 10,000-1 confirmed already. There'll be others, I think. That was not unsupported, Our Armageddon. Returned 9-1. Second horse home, Iris Royal, returned 11-4.
In those days. Now, they're the colours now of Leslie Garretter. Leslie, better known, I think, down the years for owning Romany King, amongst others, of course, who Richard used to ride.
He did, of course, second in the Grand National, and then he sold it, and he sort of got out of it rather well. I knew this owner in the late 60s in the West End of London when he was in the rag trade. I used to meet him in a William Hill bookmaker's shop.
These sort of things as well, aren't they? Great scenes, because we saw with Barry Cash, for example, right at the beginning of the meeting, how, for Larry, a lot of the stuff has been done at home, and he's such a big supporter of the yard, and fantastic day as well for Richard Guest.
And the great thing about it is that he's done it with such a superb, brave, courageous ride as well. Yes, we said beforehand that the horse needed to be ridden from the front, but the judgment of pace is absolutely crucial, and he's done a superb job in judging it today.
And the agonising thing would have been, Gerard, if he'd been caught, you'd have kicked yourself from here to Kingdom Come for running in the Arkle, so it's so good that he did stick his head out. The run of the race, in a way, was Iris Royal. It was off the bridle almost from the word go.
Yeah. And I mean, the other thing, he's done it against his elders, Richard. Impact has sort of had a few years in front of him, and so has Iris Royal, at least as a second season chaser. So him as a raw novice to do it, and to do it from the front, so brave.
His jumping stood the test as well. When you front run and they get to you, you really just need, and Impec had travelled up really strongly, but that is Impec's way, and you know that when he comes off the bridle.
I keep saying this to people, he doesn't find, and any sort of a hill, and he's in big trouble. It proved again that he dropped out from looking as if Jim Cullity had his hands full.
Larry McGrath, he's sticking his right hand, just keeping him going. It was a brief moment after the last where you were worried, but the punch of the air, and he ran right to the line, the horse, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely, all the way to the line, and certainly the second horse as well. And as Jerry rightly said, the third horse was the only one really that didn't finish, and maybe even 2 miles 5 at Cheltenham is a bit too stiff for him. But this performance for Armageddon looks to set him up for the seasons to come. He'll be playing a big part in 2 mile 4 handicap chases, and maybe something better.
I'm so pleased as well for the North as a whole, because I have to admit I was up there last week calling, and everyone was talking about long time that they didn't really have the strength in depth. Lenny Lungo wasn't bringing down a strong contingent. Mary Reevely, other than Hidden Bounty, didn't really have a strong hand, and how important it is that all aspects, particularly with National Hunt Racing sort of coming under some pressure in some quarters, that all geographic areas are represented with success. You've got down in the West Country these huge powerhouses of stables, and a superb performance by Richard Guest, who's made such a good start to his training career, to uncover a young horse. He's very good at keeping those sweet and finding little openings, and having horses right on certain days, letting them to drop and winning again. But to compete at this level, you've got a very, very impressive and exciting horse.
And racing so nearly lost Richard Guest as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, ironically enough, Romany King was involved in that as well. I'm not sure. It was certainly in some shape and form. There were many flirting with officialdom, and I'm fairly sure that Romany King was one of those that led to the early initial incidents here, as I say, was from the same owner many years ago. Here are the full starting prices on the Cathcart.
Our Armageddon provides Richard Guest with his first Cheltenham Festival winner as a trainer, of course, as a jockey. He won the Champion Hurdle on Beach Road in 1989. That was his finest hour as a rider. 9-1 Our Armageddon. Iris Royal second, 11-4. Impec third. Found Nil 3-1. La Londière was very disappointing, last year's winner, and 7 ran.
Well, prior to that race, I did say they were nibbling at Our Armageddon, 12-1, 11-1, 10-1, all taken, returned at 9-1. So some bets were landed. Decent result for many firms, but one or two not altogether happy expressions from the boards layers behind me, which would suggest some people got Our Armageddon right. Now, will we get some clues from the market in the county? Well, Dave Stewart from Bet at the Races is with me. Where's the money gone so far?
Well, Sean, it had to happen. We were having quite a few horses nibbled earlier in the day, but two significant movers in the final race for people getting out of trouble. Adamant Approach, 10-1 into 8-1, and Lilium de Cotte, now 10-1 into 7-1, the JP money on that one. Both really significant movers and bad results for Bet at the Races in those last two races, in the last race.
Well, some clues from the market. People talk about it as a bookmaker's bonanza this last, the County Hurdle. Not really the case historically. Plenty of fancied runners have gone in, so hopefully some clues from the market. But punters, we need all the help we can get. We want some more places, we want some more preferential terms, and you have come to our rescue.
Oh, we have. I kind of wish we didn't. We went 5 places. Of course, there's lots of non-winners. I think we're down to 23 runners now, but we're still paying out on 5 places, a quarter the odds of the first 5. And don't forget that Bet at the Race also boosting the SP to the next price up on all races at Cheltenham, including the finale.
Listen to the man, you would think he's giving money away. Let's face it, they can afford it. They're in front, the bookies.
Afternoon Racing is sponsored by ultimatebet.com. Poker at the click of a button.
I was struggling to pay off all my credit cards. I'd been refused a loan 3 times, even though I owned my own home. I was quite desperate as I couldn't see any easy solution. That's when I called First Class Mortgages. They were very understanding of my situation, helped me to manage all my debts and lower my overall monthly outgoings. Next time I'll call them first.
We wanted a conservatory, but we didn't want to move. We couldn't get a loan because of our age. I called First Class Mortgages, who made everything very straightforward and comprehensible. They came up with a remortgage that worked well for us. And now we have our lovely conservatory.
We work hard for homeowners, finding a financial solution where other companies may not be able to help. We are quick to respond, no forms to fill in, and we give simple, clear advice whatever your needs. Everyone is treated individually. First Class Mortgages. Free call 0800 107 2233.
When Derek Andrews' lorry got stuck, an accident whilst towing caused severe injuries to his hand. He called the National Accident Helpline. Within 24 hours, we arranged for him to meet a local specialist solicitor. Derek received £22,000 compensation. If you've had an accident in the last 3 years at work or on the road, find out free if you can make a no-win, no-fee claim. Call the National Accident Helpline now on 0800 556 557.
Banja House Stables, consigner of fine quality thoroughbreds worldwide. 9 individual black-type horses in the last 3 years. Offering individually prepared, ready-to-run 2-year-olds at forthcoming Breeze Up sales. Prices to suit all budgets. All inquiries welcome. Call Conmernan.
Afternoon Racing is sponsored by ultimatebet.com. Poker at the click of a button.
These men and women are a crack team of racing experts operating as prophets of profit every night. If you need the best tips, if you want more units, you need to follow the A-Team.
Now, Dale, what do you fancy?
We've got so many horses taking the first run on the lawn. The 2's having its first run on the turf. The 3's having its first run on the turf. The 4's...
What's your selection? In your own time.
16-1. The 1.
The man in the commentary box, the inimitable Vic Stauffer.
They're up. Turn to Avies ahead in front. Preservation Hall is second. Unbridled Contessa with a nice late run. Turn to Avie. Unbridled Contessa, turn to Avie.
16-1 winner for my guest, Dale McEwen. That should get you a promo.
The A-Team returns tonight.
I don't want a promo.
Potentially, Dale McEwen could bear all this evening. It's a horrific thought, I know, but he promised so to do should Rooster Booster get beaten in the Champion Hurdle. And as yet, there is no video evidence of him having taken his clothes off. So, for those of you of a brave persuasion, tune in tonight and you'll see Dale getting it out with Richard Perham. Right, we've got to move on. We've got to move on. Southwell is our last race. And after this, we'll be handing over to the team at Cheltenham to take us right the way through until 6 o'clock with the county hurdle and final reflections on what's been a quite exhilarating day's racing for the third and final day of the Cheltenham Festival. 5:30 then. Piccolo Prince is the 5-4 and well back favourite. Sahara Silk 5, Head of State 9. We've got a jockey change on back at de front. Chris Catlin is replaced by Mark Savage, claiming 5. Right. What we are going to do now is to look back at the closing stages of the Cathcart. It was a bold exhibition of front running and jumping from R. Armageddon and Larry McGrath. It gives him a first Cheltenham Festival winner. It gives Richard Guest a first Cheltenham Festival winner as a trainer. It gives the North, as Richard Hawes was saying, so rightly a welcome festival winner, and it was a great to see a chaser in full flight like this, Steve, gallop his rivals into submission.
Yeah, and the race suited him much more than the Arkle the other day. He was able to dominate, which he couldn't do the other day. There's a number of front runners, and often doesn't suit a front runner. This one he set the pace he wanted to set. He kept jumping himself, staying in the lead by his jumping. He saw off the bridle horse Impec, and Irish Royal, who was sort of an opposite, he was under pressure a mile out, found plenty for pressure, but he was never ever going to reel in the winner.
Iris Royal is such a brave little horse.
Yeah, he was really brave. Yeah,
he never looked happy at any stage during the race, and you have to surmise that it was purely his courage that got him as close as he did to winning. And the Henderson horses, with the exception of Fleet Street and possibly Fomore, have been a shade disappointing this week.
Yeah, they had. The hurdlers ran all right in the first race. Pearl, I can't remember the name.
Depuce.
Yeah, but you're right. They've run just a bit below.
Fleet Street was the one that was third.
Yeah, that's right. They both run well in that race. But I'm just not sure that he's got champions. He's got a lot of good horses. He's won a lot of the handicaps this year. I think Irish Royal's run his race there. In the sharp contrast to, say, Impec, who travelled like a dream and didn't find very much. Irish Royal didn't travel at all and found plenty. But the winner was always holding him to cheers from Nick Luck in the studio.
It just sort of got me out of trouble for the week, which
Never
was.
thought I'd hear language like it, but there you go. It's like being back in Catford.
I've never been to Catford.
No.
Would you recommend a visit?
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Proper place.
Okay. County Hurdle. That could be fun. Looking forward to that in a few moments' time. You've got quite a strong fancy in the county, haven't you? Demi Bowes, your fancy.
Yeah, he's got not much of a recommendation, I'm afraid, but yes, I think he's got a good. I think the race will work out very well for him.
And of course, the big talker, if you like, has been Lilium de Cotte the last few weeks, and not sighted since pulled up at Ascot in a novice chase, and suddenly he reappears.
Yeah, indeed. He's been money for it from all the right places,
whatever they are.
Exactly. But
what is a right place?
I don't know. The people who presumably back winners. That's what the right places means, I guess.
Exactly. Let's have a last look at the betting at Southwell. 11 to 10 Piccolo Prince, 5 Sahara Silk, 10 Head of State and back at the front, 12's Bar. Last time at Southwell today. Let's go and join our commentator, Dave Smith.
Thanks very much. Yeah, still 6 or 7 to come forward. Desert Light just moving in. One of two Derek Shaw trained runners here. Indrani next up as well. Just news regarding the previous race of Sulla. No bid for the winner, Garnet Venture. And Nigel Shields, who generally has dealings in these sort of events, claiming actually lost his maybe someday to Doncaster trainer John Balding. So runs from a new stable next time. Megabond just going forward. Still a couple more to come in yet as well. Sparkling Clear is ready. Megabond has gone in. Still waiting for back at the front to come in, and also Piccolo Prince. They're the last two. Last one's in. We're all sit down at the 6 furlongs, and they're off and running more or less to a level break, although Jalen's just a little stride slower than the others as they left the gate. They dash down the far side. Head of State out wide on the track, wants to be in the front rank, together also with Lizard. The orange-capped Sahara Silk has got an inside pitch, and they're followed by Desert Light, and up the inside is Bar Billy Rifle. They turn it at the end of the first furlong with the advantage of the inside. Bar Billy Rifle heads for the half mile by a half to Sahara Silk, and then Lizard is out wide on the track. Desert Light track sees, together also with back at the front, who's pretty handy. They head in for the home straight then, just over 3 furlongs, or just Just under 3 furlongs left to go now, and Barbilly Rifle on the inside, matching strides with Sahara Silk. Lizard's being chased to hold its place. Back at the front has got a position on the far side with the light blue sleeves. Way over on the far side rail is Barbilly Rifle. They head down to the final quarter, and Sahara Silk, and back at the front, matching strides these two now. Piccolo Prince is coming there pretty strongly for Jimmy Quinn in the yellow sleeves and the matching coloured cap. Under a strong drive is Lizard on the stand side. Here comes the furlong marker, and Lizard the stand side now pressed by Piccolo Prince, and then comes Sahara Silk, a 3-way go, and they're starting to break clear these into the closing stages. And Piccolo Prince on the far side with the Sahara Silk orange cap. Sahara Silk getting on top there in a drive to the wire. Sahara Silk, little to choose between them. Sahara Silk just wins from Piccolo Prince. Judge for third, that'll involve Head of State and also Lizard.
Well, Sahara Silk has won the finale at Southwell today in the hands of Darren Williams for informed trainer Derek Shaw. We'll take a short break. We'll be back with the County Hurdle.
Afternoon Racing is sponsored by ultimatebet.com.
You can't ignore all those huge credit card loan bills. You don't want to think about it. And you can't pretend it's not happening. So if you need help, call HFS Loans right now. At HFS Loans, we could reduce all your debts into one affordable monthly repayment. And the good news is, our interest rates are from as low as 6.9%. If you've been turned down because of your poor credit ratings and you have CCJs, or you're self-employed and have no equity in your home, then call this number and talk to HFS Loans today. You can borrow up to £250,000, and we can lend you 150% of your home's value. In fact, all circumstances will be considered. Don't let those bills get you down. Take an easy loan from HFS and you could soon have extra money in your pocket. Call HFS Loans right now on 0808 172 1774. That number again, 0808 172 1774. Or visit hfsloans.co.uk.
Turf 2000 has made the dream of ownership come true for hundreds of racing fans.
It's as if you own the horse yourself.
When you get a winner, it's so exciting.
It's just nice to be part of a syndicate where you're actually owning a horse.
Now you can enjoy racehorse ownership for less than £130. Call now and enjoy the thrills of owning your own racehorse this flat racing season. And you won't just be a club member, you'll experience real racehorse ownership.
To waste our lives would be a sin. So release me, my darling, let me go.
Hey, fantastic. He's not playing games, is he? What time's bingo, Mum? Carry on.
Afternoon Racing is sponsored by ultimatebet.com.
Before the race, we spoke of best mate standing on the brink of history. Now we can talk about him having created a little bit of his own in racing folklore. Jim, how do you feel?
Rishi, I just feel so happy that it's all over, you know. It was a really tense time this last couple of weeks, and Henrietta was obviously getting very nervous, we're getting nervous. And the hard bit is that everybody thinks he's going to win, don't they? Go, oh, he's odds on, it's easy, penalty kick. I played football when I was a boy, and I've missed many penalties, and that is how difficult it is. It's always on the day, the cards you're dealt and the way the race runs, you know. And Jim got a bit of problems in the race, that like he got blocked in and so on, but he had to wait. But I think we saw a different best mate today. We saw a best mate with his overcoat off, fighting, a street fighter. He's a tough horse. Yes, he's very elegant, and he's a wonderful jumper. He's a great athlete, but he's also very, very tough.
And how proud are you of Jim Cullity, the ride he gave him, and the training performance it's taken to get him spot on the day once again?
Incredible, really. I mean, you can imagine the tension for Henrietta and Terry. And Jim, like he remains cool, and we call him at home the cool dude. But we all know that is not the way it goes, you know. And I mean, you have to admire Henrietta and Terry. He knows every blade of grass at Cheltenham, you know. And she, ex-biology teacher, she knows about the body and the way it all works, you know. And I think that I'm very lucky to have a horse like him, and a trainer and a mate like Terry Middleton.
Which is the three was the best?
The third is always best, you know, but it's a bit like saying, you know, well, you got three children and which one do you like the most, you know. But I mean, I think the last year was a very graceful, wonderful performance. But I say, we saw a different horse today, a rough, toughy street fighter, and whoever wants to beat him, Rishi, they're going to have to be able to jump, be able to run, and be able to fight,
Jim, we look forward to seeing you next year, and thank you very much for all that Best Mate and the team have given to us.
What a pleasure. Thank you so much. Cheers, mate.
Well, the result that I'm sure most, if not all, of the National Hunt racing community wanted. Best Mate coming home in front. Sir Rembrandt a gallant second, and Harbour Pilot repeating last year's third place. It was a memorable race, Steve. I'm glad that we got a horse race of such epic proportions from the home bend. 4 in with a shout, plenty of jockeying for position. You know, no quarter given. It was great stuff.
It was a terrific horse race. So it wasn't a procession, but he showed you know, all the right qualities. He battled like mad, jumped like mad, and it was a really good horse race. Really exciting finish.
The key moment of the race for me, as I said earlier on, was the second last, when he had been kept in under a wonderfully tenacious piece of riding from Paul Carberry.
Superb.
Had kept Jim in on.
Been criticised if he had, and he didn't. And the horse really was impressive here. He moved into the outside, got a bit more room.
He kept his cool, didn't he?
He
Crucially.
did. Impressive here. He moved into the outside, got a bit more room.
He kept his cool, didn't he?
Crucially. He did and got more room.
Set him up for the second last.
From Sir Rembrandt, and then saw a great stride here and pulled it. He thought here he was going to go and win by, you know, 6 or 7 lengths. I really thought that was going to happen, but he didn't. You know, both the second and third have really fought on. Got another good jump at the last. Not as flamboyant, but you know, job done. And showed lots of guts on the running.
It was a fiercely run race. They were well strung out during the very first circuit. A scorching pace set by First Gold on much deader ground than last year, I think. This horse has got cruising speed and stamina, and he jumps well. He's got a combination of assets. Okay, he might not be, he is not another Arkle, but he's got a combination of qualities that enable him to defeat all comers.
He's got no vices, he's got nothing about him, he doesn't get temperamental beforehand or sweat up, he jumps beautifully, he settles beautifully, and he fights hard. I mean, all those things, and you know, I'm really not going to put him down to all those things he does in spades. He had to fight today, and he did. I say there's lots of horses to take out of the race. I'm sure. I say next year you've got better Beefable Salmon's a year younger. If he jumped better than he did, he jumped poorly today. And certainly he'll jump worse than the first 4 by a long way. You could imagine that making a race of it. I think people will know the horse isn't completely unbeatable. I mean, he's not, you know, he's not so frightening. I think there was a feeling after last year that we were seeing, you know, just a horse who was so far and above everything else. I'm not sure he is that, but he's got lots of virtues.
We've got a result to wrap up from Southwell for you. Sahara Silk was the winner, 5-1. 11-10 favourite Piccolo Prince. Head of State, 10-1, and all 11 ran. This is how they bet for the County Hurdle. Adamant Approach 7 is the favourite. Sporozine 8 with Lilium de Cotte, Archibald. 9 La Passing, 14 in Contrast, Demi Bow, Ballapur, Newhall. 16 Grave Doubts, Rathgard Bow. And the Imperial Cup winner Scorn chasing a big bonus here. Now ridden by Jimmy McCarthy. 25-1 bar. Many thanks to all of you for watching our Cheltenham coverage the last few days. Do stay tuned for the County Hurdle. It's goodbye now from Steve and myself. Steve, thoroughly enjoyed your company these last few days, and I've thoroughly enjoyed watching and being part of the Cheltenham Festival in our own small way. Your 2 or 3 highlights very briefly, because we've got to head back to Cheltenham.
Yeah, I thought the Stayers Hurdle today was a terrific race. I mean, sorry, the Gold Cup obviously was a great horse race. I think we've had 3 good races today. I thought the Stayers Hurdle was, for me, the race of the meeting. I thought that was wonderful, and I must say, you know, being a bit sentimental, I thought the Earth Mover thing brought the house down. I thought that was a brilliant, you know, following on from the Gold Cup, could have been a real anti-climax, but I thought there was a lot to like about that.
Been a fantastic day's racing, fantastic 3 days. Many thanks to you,
Thank you,
Steve.
Nick.
See you again soon.
You will.
It's just about it from us here in the studio. Thank you for watching, as I say. We're heading back now to Cheltenham, where the team are going to shepherd us through the last half an hour or so of the 2004 festival. With Paul Nicholls, here's Rishi.
Well, the 2004 Cheltenham Festival champion trainer is now with me, Paul Nicholls. No matter what happens in the last race, he's going to be crowned the champion trainer at Cheltenham. And you've taken a £100,000 advantage over Martin Pipe for the season now. So it's been a great week for you overall.
After a bad start, it got better. We were a bit frustrated and a bit down Tuesday night, but it's just come, you know, we thought they had the horses well, and, you know, they run well, and I think the highlight to me today was Earth Mover, fantastic.
Well, still something to come in the last race of the county. You hold the key because, of course, Rigmarole had to be declared, and he was. So that's obviously helped Sporozine more than any other horse in the race, really.
It should do. If he runs like he did at Kempton with Foreman into Sky Falcon and Rooster Booster, he must go well. Slight reservation about the track, and Ruby just said then, he said, I think Aintree will suit him better. So that could be, you know, against us. Le Passing, I wouldn't rule him out of running a big race.
Okay, so Sporozine, if you were telling people last race of the day, last meeting of the festival, last race of the festival, could they get out on Sporozine?
I'd have each way on Le Passing.
Okay, Paul, thanks very much.
Okay, thank you, Rishi.
Well, Sporozine's certainly been the more prominent in the market, generally single figures, having been double figures this morning, generally single figures here, 8-1, the best I can see at the moment. There is good money about, though, for Le Passing. 11 and 12-1 seems to be being hoovered up, mainly single figures now. 9-1 behind me to my left is the best I can see about Le Passing. But there's no doubt what is a real springer in this market. Adamant Approach, Blue Square, Hills, Skybet, Stanley, all 20-1 this morning. 9-1 the best I can see, and it's sure to go off now a single figure price. Adamant Approach, certainly the one for money, and as you can see, people still piling in, either playing it up or trying to get out of jail.
Yeah, good luck to all of you who are, as you say, either trying to get out of a hole you've created over the previous couple of days, or are playing up your winnings and hoping for a success that'll ensure that you can finance the remaining 362 days that'll elapse between the County Hurdle and the commencement of Cheltenham 2005. Let's start with Adamant Approach, because he's been here twice, he's fallen twice, most famously when he would have beaten, in most people's opinions, Like a Butterfly in the very first race of the 2002 festival.
Yes, and I was on.
It's particularly painful.
Yes, very much so. I'm on again. He looks very well, looks cracking condition.
And a few others that caught your eye?
Yes, Le Passing, number 11, looks very well. 15, Lilium the Cot, looks in excellent nick. Demi Bow does also 17, but the ground might have gone for that. And that Irish horse that's been badly handicapped, 18.
Yeah, Archibald.
Yeah, that's the one. That looks terribly well. So, you know, about those, and Newhall, the Irish mare, 24, those 5 or 6 would be the best.
Okay, now obviously the other talking point about this particular race, Rishi, is the sort of constitution of the weights, because with 48-hour declarations, Rigmarole was left in, and as a consequence, the top weight for this handicap carries 10 stone 13. There's been much talk about 48-hour decks, far too much for to get into here, but it does appear that if we are going to maintain them, this sort of scenario needs to be covered by some sort of rule change.
Well, absolutely. I mean, I can't understand really, Richard, why they can't change the weights on the day. Perhaps somebody could take the time to explain to somebody like me, but I don't know we have the time to do it now.
No, I mean, the difficulty with this and reserves is always if you've had a bet in advance and the weights go up and some are better off with others or relatives.
Weights.
It's you know, some that are out the handicap by £16 then become out the handicap by £3. It's just so messy, but basically it just needs to be changed full stop, because it has reduced what was a competitive handicap effectively to about the top 8 or 9, really, with a realistic chance. You've got a Court Sharif that ran really well the other day, but by and large these are the ones. Won't be too much longer. Sean, the final throws in that betting ring, up to your knees in expended tickets. What's the getting out stakes winner?
Well, there's only one person to ask. In fact, there's two people to ask, and they're both called Paul. I spoke to these guys on Tuesday, you might remember. This time last year, they were up to their neck in it. They couldn't find a winner, they couldn't buy a winner, but they kept the faith. They kept punting all the way through the week till Thursday. Similar story this week by the sound of it, boys. Are you up front, or are you in front, or do you need to get out of jail now?
Well, I wouldn't say get out of jail, but we're not as bad as we was early Tuesday, let's put it one way, but we've not done too bad. We're all right.
You've kept the faith, though. Do you wade in with best mate when he drifted?
No, not. I didn't fancy it. I fancied it for winning, but it was too short a price for me. But this new wall, what's going there, a win with me on its back.
Newall with this man on his back. You can't see the full glory of this man's physique, but let's say he would struggle to do a normal National Hunt Wide.
Showing his quirks. And a mystery, he's now after them. And that's it, they're off and racing for the Vincent O'Brien County Handicap Hurdle. And Demi Bow and Ben Bias amongst the leaders early on, with also up there Idaho Docks towards the inside. It gets a sharpener. And then behind them is Adamant Approach and Green Hope, and then Archibald in the sheepskin noseband, Lilium Ducott on the outside, Downpour on the near side there in the red sleeve jacket, Lilium Ducott in the green and gold hoops, Bound in the orange sleeves, and then Scorned moving forward a bit, followed by Through the Rye, who's often a front runner. The grey is Sporazine, Barton Nick towards the back with Newhall in the red and white jacket as they head on towards flight number 2, and it's Idaho Docks from Ben Bias taking this one. Green Hope and Demi Bow third and fourth from Archibald, and then Downpour wide. Copeland is next from Rathgar Bow up the inside. Lilium Ducott travels strongly, and then wide is Bound of Scorned and Through the Rye, Adamant Approach and Le Passing. Sporazine and Barton Nick from Regal Exit, Man and Mystery and Grave Doubts on the inside. In contrast, Harwood Death, Newhall and Ballapore is the back marker. Turning into the back straight, and Idaho Docks continues to lead the county hurdle field from Ben Bias in second. Green Hope is third on the outside of Demi Bow, and then is Archibald wide of Copeland. Downpour next from Lilium Ducott, and then Rathgar Bow up the inside of Through the Rye. Adamant Approach moving up out wide of these is Scorned. Bound is also improving a little bit. La Passing behind them. Grave Doubts on the inside, and at the back Newhall just struggling to go with them. Ballapore is at the back of the main body of the field as they clear the necks. Continuing on and beginning to climb a little, and it's Ben Bias from Green Hope and Idaho Docks as they take this one. Demi Bow is still very close with these leaders, along with Archibald, and then Copeland back on the inside. Out wide, Downpour very handy. Lilium Ducott is just hunting up the leaders in that white cap for JP McManus. Bound on the outside, Rathgar Bow, Adamant Approach, Sporazine and Scorned, and then back on the inside to Grave Doubts. Running to the third last now, still a long way from home though, and it's Ben Bias. Oh, what a great jump by Ben Bias there, with Green Hope on his outside. Archibald is in third place, and then Demi Bow on the inside following them through. Downpour wider, Lilium Ducott, and then Copeland with Through the Rye also improving. Sporazine the grey coming into the picture as they make the top turn. Then Adamant Approach as they now begin the run downhill, and it's Green Hope on the outside of Ben Bias who's pushed along. Archibald travels well, one of the market leaders. Through the Rye through into fourth place, then Downpour, Demi Bow, Copeland, and then Lilium Ducott. Behind these is Sporazine from Adamant Approach and Man and Mysteries beginning to stay on from the rear. They race down towards the second last. Green Hope on the outside of Archibald and Ben Bias as they take two out. Green Hope just the first to pick up. Ben Bias hanging on, but Archibald is running away for Ireland. In fourth place is Copeland from Through the Rye. Lilium Ducott, Sporazine is plugging on, and then from the rear Demi Bow, and Ballapore is also staying on from the rear in a big noseband, but Archibald strikes the front. A very long run to the final flight, and it's Archibald the leader here. Copeland sent into pursuit. Sporazine on the far side, then Green Hope coming wide with Lilium Ducott. Ballapore still running on as well, and from the rear Howard Death, but they run down to the final flight. Sporazine now challenging Archibald at the last, and Archibald knocked the flight flat, and Sporazine is left in front. It's Sporazine on the far side of Archibald. Copeland is third. Ballapore is running on. Sporazine and Ruby Walsh here by 5 lengths, 6 lengths in second Stephen Archibald, Ballapore, then Copeland. Howardeth is finishing well. Sporazine's getting very tired in the last 50 yards. Howardeth is flying. Sporazine just holds on from Howardeth. It was close for third between Copeland and Ballapore, followed home by the weakening Archibald.
So Sporazine has meant that Ruby Walsh will end the week as the leading rider in the contest sponsored by the Daily Telegraph. Sporazine, the chief beneficiary, I suppose, of Rigmarole's presence and then absence. The 7-1 joint favourite has landed the spoils. Howardeth for Tom Malone came from a long way back for Victor Dartnell to finish in second place. Just waiting for the official confirmation. Copeland, I think, was third. Copeland was third. Just waiting. And fourth was number 19, which was Ballapore. Ballapore, who was second in this race 12 months ago. So on the first day, many felt Ruby Walsh had the best book of rides. He came back at the end of day one winnerless, and it wasn't really until Azerti at 1 that he began to turn the tide. Wednesday was good, and Thursday's been even better for Ruby Walsh and Paul Nicholls, who spent most of the week talking to Rishi.
He has, and it's worked out well for him in the end. Paul, what an amazing performance this week from this team.
Brilliant. I mean, it all worked out. Thought we had this horse right. And on Kempton run, he had to win today. Fantastic. Great ride from Ruby. Great team effort from everybody.
Paul, many congratulations on a tremendous Cheltenham.
Thank you.
And of course, after day one, we were talking about the Seesawing Trainers Championship, with Martin Pipe having a good day with the success of Well Chief and Maximise. But at the end, it could have been that the last couple of wins for Paul Nicholls have sealed the trainer's crown in his favour. He had more than £100,000 worth of prize money in excess of Martin over the course of the 3 days going into this race. Howardeth has come from a long way back. His horse that can take a little while to get rolling. Sporazine had taken it off Archibald, who possibly had just been left in front a little too early. He began to run out of puff on the run towards the line. Sporazine kept going as Howardeth really began to power home in the closing stages. And Copeland fighting out at third place, with eventually just grabbing that spoils ahead of the fourth placed horse, Ballapore. So there's a delighted Ruby Walsh coming back after the success of Sporazine, a horse, of course, who was in the Champion Hurdle for quite a while, prominent in lists, and has rounded off things in style for the Walsh-Nicholls combination. And what a difference, you know. Starting off it was black, and now very much white.
Yes, and it was interesting because we were told that they were going to employ different tactics, i.e. make a lot of more use of the horse, you know, and no, but Ruby reverted to style, his tremendous ability to hold horses up, and he came through and the horse didn't let him down.
You can see the scenes, the final sort of sweat extended during the course of the festival. Sporazine, Sean's worked his way around. What sort of result will that be for the books? The punters have sort of nivelled back a little bit from sort of best mate onwards, haven't they?
Yeah, by no means unfancy. We said before the race that the county, many people dismiss it as a bookmaker's benefit, a real lottery. It isn't. It's often won by a well-fancied horse. Sporazine, prominent in the market for some time now, and prominent in the market on the day. Several horses were backed against it, as we mentioned, most notably an Adamant Approach. The 7-1 joint favourite, you can see Sporazine, so very prominent. Once again, several punters getting that right. Howardeth, the second return of 5-0, 50-1. Copeland, 40-1 this morning. There was money for that one each way, 25-1. And the fourth horse, Ballapore, also by no means friendless in the market, returned at 12-1, and we'll have to confirm what the fifth is, because Bet at the Races will pay you on that as well.
I think it was probably the horse that Archibald, I think, just ran out of puff.
Archibald, more bad news for Bet at the Races.
I'm fairly sure he was fifth.
Quarter the odds the first five, and several of the single-figure horses at the front of the market have made the frame. And as we've said before, not the lottery that it sometimes looks. Well done, though, if you did pick out Sporazine.
Yep, absolutely. And of course, we've seen all the way during the week the delighted scenes of trainers and jockeys. This is exactly what it means to back a winner at the festival. Yeah, there you go. Rishi was on a winner.
It's the very last race. Thank God for Ruby Walsh and Paul Nicholls.
We really hope you've enjoyed the scenes from Cheltenham Festival. Obviously, we're going to wrap up proceedings during the course of the next 5 or 10 minutes as we go round. Sean, I'll start with you with your betting hat on, if you like, after the bloodbath of 12 months ago. I suppose over the piece the bookmakers will be relatively happy, but there was enough in it for the odd punter to not be a complete wipeout.
Bookmakers on balance will be very happy. If you speak to the big off-course boys, the Hills, the Corals, the Ladbrokes of this world, turnover very, very strong indeed, and the results very, very good indeed. So they're very happy. Speaking to people in the ring, less so. Slightly subdued. I was speaking to Carl, who's the on-course tic-tac man, the public tic-tac man as it's called. He said relatively subdued this year. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of money has been in the ring this year. Slightly subdued, and the results not great for certain layers, because if you get the wrong ones in your book, then you're in trouble. Lots of horses that look like Skinners, Fundamentalists, Tick-Cram, horses like that, Sporazine Pap, have been very, very expensive indeed. So one or two bookmakers have had their fingers burnt, but generally most bookmakers would have had a very, very good festival indeed. But several punters have had some good results, and Best Mate went in, and in the end we did get a backable price. Who'd have thought a couple of months ago that you'd have got 8 to 11 or the 4 to 5 that it touched? Best Mate on the day.
Let's just remind you of, if you are just joining us, for the winners that are getting in from work and haven't had a chance to set the video. This is the horses that won during the course of the day. Obviously Best Mate the centrepiece, but Made in Japan got off to a good start for the bookmakers. Earthmover at 14 to 1 wasn't bad as well. Armageddon for the North, but interspersed we've got Iris's Gift, Flooring Barracuda returning to the scene of their epic battle 12 months ago. Best Mate all out to win his third Gold Cup. St Piran 4 to 1 market leader for the Nichols Camp, and it ends well for them with Sporazine, and that's had an impact on the leading rider. It went right the way down to the wire. Honours were spread pretty evenly during the course of the festival, but Ruby Walsh has become the Daily Telegraph leading rider by virtue of his third success of the week. Has just touched off Richard Johnson, who led for most of the final day. 2 successes apiece as well for Timmy Murphy and also to Jim Cullity. Let's just go round, Rishi and Gerald, and find out what your abiding memories were of this festival. Rishi, what is it that you'll remember in sort of 10-15 years' time?
Well, I thought Tuesday was good, Wednesday was better, today was really the best day I thought of the 3 days. And Best Mate, I didn't back any winners really until very late in the day, and I didn't back the winner of the Gold Cup, and my horse Keen Leader ran an appalling race, but I've never enjoyed a race as much as that. Jump racing anyway. I mean, the return to the Wiz enclosure was emotional and tearful. The fact is that it's just that Henrietta Knight, Terry Biddlecombe and Jim Lewis, Jim Cullity are all really nice people, and it's great when nice people get nice things.
And Gerald, I mean, you probably epitomised it in many senses. It's something I've only really experienced once. I remember the Victor Chandler when Panto Prince and Desert Orchid fought out a finish, and I'd backed Panto Prince and found myself cheering for Desert Orchid. You'd backed Sir Rembrandt, but you were, and I can vouch for it, cheering for Best Mate to hold on.
Yes, I was. I mean, we came into the meeting with these 4 stars returning. So much was written about them, saying that would they repeat their victories, and one by one they fell by the wayside. And Best Mate has a sort of a particular spot in my heart, and I really wanted him to win, and I thought he was worried. We were both saying in running at various times, we just wondered if Harbour Pilot was going to fall in front of him or something, and then he got into a box on the home turn. So when he pulled out and went into overdrive at the second last, and then was brave up the hill, because he had to be brave up the hill, that was a great moment. I was very happy not to win on Sir Rembrandt in those circumstances.
Richard, Jerry's come from the older generation, and he's been from the generation they've been able to talk about Arkle over the years that we've just gone past, and now the younger generation, our generation, will be able to say, well, now we've got Best Mate, and for years to come we can compare the other great horses that come along the way against Best Mate, and that's what I think is special about this day. He is now established. There's no arguments about it. Yes, he won 2 Gold Cups, and that was brilliant, but to do the third one, absolutely amazing, and he is an established legend.
I think the other thing for the course of the week, my abiding memory as well, of course, of the horse race action is often in these sort of circumstances you really are scrabbling around, of course, for interviews, and I think it's the way that people associated with National Hunt racing take triumph and disaster very much the same, and I think full marks to Barry Geraghty for coming out after Moscow Flyer. I was delighted to be able to interview him on a happier note for Iris's Gift, but that's transcended right the way through many races. Plenty of people prepared to give time at moments of high anxiety. Sean, you were grabbing some of the characters in the betting ring, but National Hunt people very, a real credit to the sport this week, have given time to give some positives to the media, considering the negatives in some of the build-up.
I think it's very noticeable indeed, Richard, and I think people in the flat community can learn something from that, because we've all remarked upon it, those of us who've been working here this week, how wonderful it is to be here. We're very lucky to be paid to be here anyway, but it makes our life much, much easier when people are as friendly as they have been. And yes, even in the jungle, even in the betting ring, the bookmakers, they've been happy to talk, because of course mainly they've been winning, but punters too haven't been downhearted. Real good atmosphere as ever at Cheltenham. Cheltenham. And I would also say that lots and lots of punters have come up to me from both sides of the Irish Sea, all rooting for us to be still speaking to them in a couple of weeks' time, and we hope that we will be.
Yeah, absolutely. Many thanks to Sean, Rishi and Gerald, particularly Rishi, who's been with me all week, and Sean in the jungle. Gerald, thanks for your help today. Yeah, can I just end by saying very much that on behalf of all of us in front of the camera, can we offer our real, genuine thanks to all of those behind the camera, working for 3 days, particularly in the background and the circumstances. All your efforts have been very, very much appreciated. Your hard work and, of course, not least your sense of humour. We've been working with you for a long, long time. And, of course, as someone who did present the very first programme on the Racing Channel, I have viewed events of recent months with great sadness, to be honest. At a time when many sports are competing for more airtime, it really would be a travesty if racing was to go back effectively a decade and you weren't able to sit at your living room and watch events such as these that we've witnessed today. I hope that if we do get a period of black screens, whatever the outcome, it concentrates the minds of those involved, and we can all look forward to seeing pictures back in your homes as soon as possible. From all of us here at Cheltenham, we're going to leave you with hopefully a few of your favourite memories from the Cheltenham Festival of 2004. Good night.
For the first race of day 2 of the festival. At the last, Fundamentals, oh, he made a right hatch of it. As they race into the final 50, Fundamentals all out, Fundamentals holds on. There, they're off this time, second time. And now Vic just brushing through the top of that. They're calling brave as catapulted Mick Fitzgerald out of the saddle there. And it's Rule Supreme who's running all over the track, but he's in front from Royal Emperor. Rule Supreme is holding on under David Casey, and Rule Supreme causes an upset. Lift first of us. Moscow Flyers down. Moscow Flyer a faller. The reigning champ on the deck. It's a Sergio scampering up the Cheltenham Hill. And Sergio, he's all fast. And then Sergio wins the Queen's Champion chase in magnificent style. Grindstone, Cowboy and Moongate both trying to close. Bunker Hostin digging very deep. Bunker Hostin holding Court Sharif. Bunker Hostin wins the Carl Cup in second. Court Sharif. Grindstone. Here comes Native Emperor, swapping the celestial goal. He's running out of steam, and Native Emperor from right out the back has come good on the run-in and wins going away. Is no good, wandering under pressure under a right-hand drive, and Tickram comes sweeping through. It's Tickram from Is No Good up towards the line. Tickram, a beautifully timed run by Timmy Murphy. Tickram wins the Mile Fleet. It's Total Enjoyment driven out by Jim Cullity to beat the Mare Refinement, and Total Enjoyment lands the bumper. Made in Japan by 3/4 of a length. An eighth now begins to forge away, and Made in Japan wins the Triumph Hurdle. Morris's gift by a length and a half to Barracuda, jumped in really well. They battle it out to
Good evening, welcome to Live American Racing. Hope you've had a good 3 days at Cheltenham. Best mate today? Well, almost best mate this evening. Good buddy anyway. Evening?
You okay?
Not too bad. Good week?
Yeah, actually, okay. Slow 2 days and then recovered today.
Got your clothes on?
Yeah, just about.
That's good to see. I'm pleased about that. Where did you streak?
Henley on Tuesday night.
Henley's a nice place as well. That's really not fair.
I know, it was the pre-St Patrick's Day. Nobody noticed.
Plenty of time to talk about that a little later. We haven't got any time now, though, to... we've got to get on to Laurel, should I say. First race any minutes away. 9 races there. Gulfstream, 9 races. Fairgrounds, 9. 8 at Golden Gate Fields. 8 the China Doll Stakes at San Trinita. And later on this evening, we got the first 7. Bit of a bonus there. They've squeezed another one in at Turfway Park. Last race going off at 12:54. Right, let's go straight over to Laurel for race number 1. There are no changes, so claiming contest here with a 10,000 tag, a mile in the 16th. No giving in. The 5, that's the favourite. The main to Quincy Hamilton, a £7 bug rider. Let's take a look at the win, place and show. 8-5 favourite. The 3's supported at 2-1. Dell.
No giving in is one of my best bets of the evening. The 5 horse, main reason is lightly raced, started off its campaign over 7 furlongs for 40,000, was well supported. Trained by Del Capuano, he doesn't go to the windows unless he believes in his horses. Horse was a little bit disappointing, came back over a mile and 16th on the drop. They went to the windows again, and the horse duelled early, and they went through what look very hard fractions for this class of horse. 23-1, 47-3, where most of these horses are going through in 24 high change and 25. So this horse, so long as it doesn't have to get hooked up in a speed duel, for me will be able to be rated on the lead under a bug rider, Quincy Hamilton, who takes £7 off its back. And if he doesn't go hard early on, he'll have a little bit in the tank for the end.
Quincy Hamilton, not a jockey I'm that familiar with, I've got to admit. Just looking at a few statistics here, Del. 5 winners from 45 starts here at Laurel. He's only a young lad. £7 claimer, as you say. I should think these were his first 5 winners of his career. 5 seconds, 3 thirds. So he's winning at 11% strike rate, which isn't bad for a £7 claimer. No, it proves he can get one home.
Yeah, it's not a complicated ride neither. I mean, for me, he was a lone speed. Most of these would like to just take back and get a lead. He's got the £7 allowance off its back. It normally goes harder fractions early. So if he bounces out, the main thing he wants to do is just rate him and rain him down. If he's able to raid this 3-year-old gelding down and save a little bit in the tank for the home stretch, he'll win.
Okay, where do you think the pace might come from against him? I mean, he
is the pace.
There shouldn't really be anything else.
Unless something gets sent, possibly the 2 horse, but normally goes through a lot softer fractions.
Yeah.
So unless that's used, the pace is the 5 if they want it to be.
Okay, well they do want it to be by the look of things. It's even money now, this no giving in. Quincy Hamilton on board for Del Capuano. Hopefully a combination we'll see a little more of. And Del certainly wants it to win. It's one of his best bets of the evening. So let's go and see just how he gets on at race 1.
Fox just a tad reluctant. Now in. Even money favourite, no giving in. Pepper Cove. Opry Music. They're off. Double Look is hustled out of the starting gate to Seo's natural early speed, followed by Play Bold Fox in between horses. Now shifting 3 deep into that turn. Incomplete is well placed, just 2.5 from the front. Here's the favorite, No Giving In the yellow sleeves. Now Incomplete is in some tight quarters, pinched back a bit in 4th, trying to maintain that position, just 2 lengths on the front. Play Bold Fox is on the far outside now in the 5th spot. A rough and tumble trip there for Incomplete is in very tight quarters. Pepper Cove racing second last in a well-bunched field, and Opry Music brings up the rear. 6 lengths covers them. Up the backstretch, No Giving In has been given free rein at the rail to go on from Double Luck, who's racing well off the inside. Play Bold Fox is in 3rd and Incomplete in 4th, and a handy 4th, a length and a half from the front. And DeSeo's taken back in 5th, followed by Opry Music. In the back of the pack is Pepper Cove. Lots of trouble in this race for several of the 7 runners here, as No Giving In has been given a dream trip on the inside. Double Luck is right there. Play Bold Fox is in 3rd, sweeping around them. Here comes Opry Music, and Opry Music is interested to join the front fray too. Incomplete 2.5 from the front, followed by Deseo. Last of all is Pepper Cove. Into the far turn they go. Opry Music rolls up on the outside. No giving in. In between horses, Double Luck. Incomplete, still got a winning shot. Running well after all that trouble. Right off the trio at the 5/60s. Then back to Deseo in the blue. Top of the lane, Opry Music. No giving in. Incomplete swings to the outside for a free run. Double Luck's having trouble keeping up as they swing into the stretch. And Deseo next. Homeward bound now. No giving in. Incomplete. In between horses, Opry Music. And Incomplete strikes the front, nearing the furlong marker. Incomplete. A little right-handed pressure here. Now running willingly a half length in front. No giving in is trying very hard. And Opry Music is in third with their close to home. And it's Incomplete. Incomplete. Going to be much the best here. A length and 3/4 could have been more. Lots of trouble for Incomplete. Got out of the trouble though to win. Opry Music and No giving in. It's close for fourth.
3.75 Incomplete was a winner over at Laurel. Just taking a stalking ride there under Steve Hamilton, just taking back with 4 to run, and this is when they wanted to be quickening up for you.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely no excuses for No giving in. Went soft fractions early, got the run of the race down on the inside. When push come to shove and he was asked to quicken up, he didn't. Incomplete. The 3 horse was well on the bridle, just waiting for a little bit of racing room. And Steve Hamilton, who had a really good evening last evening, he's somebody I don't really know that well, is riding this track very, very successfully. And here and now he's just in a box and he's got no place to go, just waiting for the pace to quicken up so as he can get out, because he knows that the favourite is not going to stop down on the inside. That's No giving in. And Quincy Hamilton hasn't done anything wrong on this horse. He's asked his one to pick up and go about his business. They've gone to the windows on 3 occasions. I don't know what they're going to do with this one. Maybe just put the gun to its head and see if that works. I don't know where they're going to go with this horse because they've dropped it down to lowest level, but on the outside, circling the field, Incomplete under Steve Hamilton, who, as I said, we had a really good evening last night. Come with a wet sail, 3 wide, asked this one to quicken up and go about its business, and it duly put its rivals away.
Yeah, he did. Staying on nicely, that was Opry Music. That was 7 horse Ryan Fogelsong. Hamilton Smith, the trainer there, that horse going a lot better than last time. And no doubt that one at around the same level is going to be breaking its maiden. So 3, 7 and 5 the finishing order over at Laurel. We're going to take a short break now. We're taking Gulfstream, first live action from there when we come back.
HardRockCasino.com, sponsors of American racing.
Racing's most exciting new syndicate has shares available for this flat season. Call now for a brochure.
Are you one of the thousands of people who would like to raise some money? Perhaps to start your own business, but you've been knocked back because you've no proof of income. Maybe to buy your council house, but you have CCJs. You'd like to reduce your monthly credit card and loan bills, but you have arrears. You need to buy your ex's half of your home after a split. Your bank has turned you down. You want the money for home improvements, but you can't afford the monthly payments. An APS remortgage could be the way forward. If you want convenience without forms to fill in and no references taken, step forward. If you need the money quickly, come to us. If you need one lower monthly payment, walk this way. If you're a homeowner and need a remortgage for any purpose, call APS. APS, moving forwards.
To waste our lives would be a sin. So release me, my darling, let me
go. Hey, fantastic. He's not playing games, is he? What time's bingo, Mum? Carry on.
Line airway goes to the Primartin software, established since 1985. Races in seconds. To order your free colour brochure, free phone 0800 3898 767. That's 0800 3898 767 now.
HardRockCasino.com, sponsors of American racing.
You already enjoy unsurpassed racing coverage from around the country with At the Races on Channel 418. But now you'll be able to be even more involved. Just by pressing the red button on your remote control, you'll be able to enjoy an interactive At the Races. Just follow 5 easy steps to register and set up your own personal account with At the Races, and you're off. Once registered, logging on with your unique account number and PIN, you can use all the interactive features quickly and securely. And remember, if you're already an At the Races telephone or website customer, you keep the same account details, making logging on so simple. Click through to the homepage and you'll see the channel coverage continues uninterrupted with our live picture-in-picture application, making sure you don't miss a thing. At the Races has made the platform so easy to use for you to make the most of interactivity. Every day you'll find the Races best tip of the day, and there are regular competitions to enter for your chance to win some great prizes. Next Live Race offers the full list of runners as well as the latest prices. Press I and you can get information on the jockey, trainer and the form of every horse. The day's races are listed in full chronological order and details of the going, declared runners and distance. And there's top tips from our pundits. And finally, you'll find the results from the last race. So with all these great features now available, with just a touch of the red button, your participation with At the Races will be so much more than just watching. Whether it's via your TV, telephone, or the web, be At the Races wherever you are.
Welcome back now. Incomplete. That was the winner of our first live race over at Laurel. Let's catch up on the dividends there. Steve Hamilton in the saddle, 840, 362